These are some of the most embarrassing moments the Griffin kids have ever had. And hey, big thanks to viewer Pumpkin Eater R2G for inspiring the idea. Hope you're ready to wake up and watch this. And we start off with Chris getting embarrassed about his weight in Killer Queen when Peter teases him about getting sent off to fat camp.
Chris, you're 4 hot dogs behind. Come on, hurry!
Oh, I can't eat anymore.
So after Peter pressures Chris into training and winning a hot dog contest, Chris is left with painful indigestion. That's just your body congratulating you on a job well done. Or it's stabbing you for putting it through all that torture.
We need to start taking responsibility for his health. So I decided to sign him up for fat camp.
I think Chris would rather just take the lifelong complications. After all, he thinks it's better to die young and fat than to live a long and healthy life after attending fat camp. Chris is rightfully worried that people are going to make fun of him, and Peter is more than willing to validate him, Letterman jacket and everything.
Hey, fatty, I hear you're going to fat camp. That's where you belong.
There's nothing worse than being embarrassed in front of the prettiest girl in school, especially when that girl is also your mom. That's a lot of emotions to work through, and unfortunately, Lois just isn't ready to quit the bad boy yet. Later, nerd.
Come on, you.
Sorry, Chris. I'm gonna go with him.
And that wouldn't be the only time Chris was embarrassed because of his weight, as Peter put him through something similar at the pool and he's too sexy for his fat.
Hey, Chris, aren't you coming in?
Can I swim with my shirt on?
So Chris is feeling a little bad about his weight, but apparently the idea of him swimming with his shirt on already makes Peter assume the worst.
Do you have bruises? Did somebody hit you? Lois, what did you do to my son?
Will you keep your voice down?
Especially considering that if anyone in this family has bruises, they're probably from Peter. I guess it's hard to remember these things when you're a heavy drinker, but it's also probably too late to stop now. But this isn't embarrassing. Peter will show what true embarrassment is.
Hey, look what Chris Griffin's father, Peter Griffin's doing.
Don't tell me you haven't thought about doing that. And if you have thought about it, don't tell me that either. I'd rather keep the current respect I have for you if it's all the same. But Chris eventually admits that he doesn't want to take his shirt off because he thinks he's fat.
No one thinks you're fat.
I'm sorry, sir. You can't park your van on the diving board.
Sounds like somebody needs their eyes checked. And even if he didn't, why can't I park on the diving board? I pay for my pool pass and I should get to use the pool to the fullest extent. But Peter wants to cheer Chris up, though he's got to make sure nobody steals him first. That's why it's always important to have a steering wheel lock with you. It really lowers your chances of your son getting sun-jacked.
So I'm gonna go get you a soda. You wait here.
And Stewie can't even escape embarrassment with his own creations, as the robot he builds to be his best friend quickly builds friends of his own, and uses Stewie as the butt of the joke in Guy Robot.
You know what? That's it. You and I are no longer friends.
So after Stewie officially cuts ties with Brian, he realizes he's gonna need a new best friend. Unfortunately, everyone else is dumber than Stewie, and he's tired of being the smartest one in the room. Unless it comes to shapes. That stuff makes quantum computing look like child's play. So he decides to build himself a friend.
Stewie, perhaps we should offer this guest a beverage. Or simply lift the toilet seat.
Ooh, snap, Brian.
Getting dunked on by a guy literally born today after being rejected by his baby best friend? It's a good thing no one follows Brian on social media because he would be getting roasted right about now. But while Stewie and the robot, Lyle, initially start off as equals, it quickly becomes clear that the bot has a ton of potential.
I drew you something as well. It's an urban plan for a workable Palestinian state.
I guess that can go on the fridge too? It's gonna kinda make Stewie's crayon drawings look like garbage, but whatever. But Lyle's intelligence is growing exponentially and Stewie just can't keep up, so Lyle decides to make some company that can.
I've built a few friends for myself.
You have?
I'm sorry, but I've outpaced your intelligence.
I've heard guys say the same thing after one episode of Rick and Morty. So now there are 3 hyper-intelligent robots in the house, and since Stewie doesn't want to feel left out, he becomes the obligatory dumbest guy in the friend group. If you're watching this and only just now realizing that this person exists in every friend group, well, I may have some unfortunate news for you.
I got the garlic blue cheese salad dressing you wanted. Does that mean I'm in the crew now?
Only if he drinks that entire bottle of salad dressing. It's okay, Stewie, you've practiced for this. Just close your eyes and try to imagine it's Chris Hemsworth.
We're friends now, right?
Maybe. How about you throw it all up back into the bottle?
This is the future we're heading towards, ladies and gentlemen. One day you're having Microsoft Sam say curse words, and the next robots are forcing you to regurgitate salad dressing into a bottle. This is just what James Cameron was trying to warn us about.
What are you doing in the toilet with the lid closed? Ted R. says this is where a piece of crap has to live.
Stewie and Brian eventually end up defeating the robots, but I'm sure Stewie still can't shake the experience of being the dumbest guy in the room for a time. How does Brian live like this every day? Sounds like a nightmare. And after being confused for a monster one too many times, Meg decided to get an extreme makeover, but it led to her being embarrassed on national television in Don't Make Me Over.
There's Craig Hoffman. Oh, he's such a rebel. Oh my god, he is so gorgeous.
So Meg develops a crush on the new kid at school and works up the courage to ask him out. Bad move on her part. Should have just kept that one floating around the old memory tank.
How about a movie?
I don't go out with dudes.
Well, at least you put her down gently. To cheer her up, Lois decides to take Meg out for a shopping spree to get some new fits. Just keep that stuff to yourself, guys. We don't need to lose any more lives.
How do these jeans look?
Not everyone can pull off the jeans that make people immolate themselves look, Meg included. But as luck would have it, Channel 5 News is at the mall giving one lucky Uggo a free makeover. No one would outright volunteer for something like that, but that's what moms are for.
Over here! My daughter needs a makeover like there's no freaking tomorrow.
The two burned corpses now residing outside of the mall would have to agree. So Meg gets a complete makeover, which earns her a date with the elusive Craig Hoffman. This is what it's all about, gals. Your hair's roots might be absolutely fried from all that bleach, but boy is it worth it.
Now that you're attractive, how about we go out sometime?
Gosh, I'd love to.
Great, I'll pick you up whenever I feel like it.
And things just keep looking up for Meg as she and her family create a pop band that has them traveling and performing all around the country. Maybe it's her head getting too full of air, or the bleach has finally seeped its way into her brain, but she ends up turning into a massive jerk not long after their success.
Ever since you got that makeover, you've developed a terrible attitude.
It's a little thing called pretty privilege, something Lois apparently hasn't experienced in quite a while. But Meg is due for her downfall, and it all happens during a taping of Saturday Night Live.
Why did you come hang out in my dressing room?
What are you looking at?
Nothing. Come on, let's go.
What she doesn't know is she's about to be pranked on camera. Ellen used to do this all the time on her show, although I don't think she ever pranked someone into losing their V-card live on air.
Being with you just made me feel so alive from New York. It's Saturday night!
She definitely needed to be brought down a peg, but maybe a globally broadcast live tape wasn't the way to go. And Chris would kill his reputation at school so badly that time travel had to be used to try to fix everything in Hard Times at Adam West High.
I had to give an oral book report in front of my English class, but it was right when I was at full mast.
He probably heard someone use the word oral and got a bit too excited. At least his desk was nice enough to give him some cover. If nobody's got me, I know the most uncomfortable piece of furniture in the world got me.
My report is on Tom Sawyer, a modern-day warrior, mean stride.
Alright, he gets some points for that Rush reference, but not enough points to prevent people from teasing him. It gets so bad that Principal Shepard even gets in on the fun.
Chris Griffin, please report to Wood Shop.
Stop it!
This is the first time anyone has ever laughed with Principal Shepard and not at him, so I don't think he has any intention of slowing down.
My approval rating is through the roof, just like Chris Griffin's rod.
Then again, it is weird for a grown man to be talking about a kid's body like that. Everyone better retract those laughs before the authorities get involved. If only he could go back in time and change how everything went down. If only his younger brother had built some sort of time machine in his room. If only his dog were allowed to use it. Well, 2 out of those 3 things are true, but that's not going to stop Brian from lending a hand.
Check it out, Chris. Welcome to 16 hours ago.
And luckily, they managed to make it to school just in time to take the place of past Chris so that present Chris can do a much floppier book report. He won't have to worry about being embarrassed about his body, he'll just have to be embarrassed about being an idiot.
Chris, I may have to fail you.
Well, that's all good, because the only chub in town is the insurance company.
He's right about that, but I'm not too interested in finding out what kind of benefits Chubb can give me. But Brian and Chris probably should have familiarized themselves with the concept of the butterfly effect, because one change of the past is bound to have ripple effects.
So with no noise coming from Chris's classroom, Meg never turned her head away, ensuring that her face would absorb the full brunt of the explosion.
Don't want to say that anyone deserves to have a chemical explosion to the face, but she wasn't wearing safety goggles, was she? Those signs around the lab are there for a reason. So in an act of true selflessness, Chris decides to go back in time again and gets embarrassed on purpose in order to save his sister's face.
He's a good kid. I'm proud of him.
What's everyone laughing about?
I'd probably tuck your head back in there, Meg, because what you might see in the next room could do monumentally more damage to you than any chemical blast. And more often than not, it isn't Meg embarrassing herself, but her dad doing something to completely ruin her reputation, like showing up to school in a towel and I never met the dead man.
Hey, Meg, you mind cleaning out the shower next time you shave your legs? It's like a carpet in there.
I would feel bad for Meg there if I didn't feel so strongly about bathtub etiquette. If you're leaving your hairs just lying around in there for anyone to step on, being embarrassed by your dad is getting off easy. Where I come from, we tar and feather people who do that, with their hair shavings, mind you. And Chris would constantly be embarrassed by his dad when the two set out on a trip to Canada after Peter doubted that Chris had a girlfriend living there in girlfriend A.
Let me give you a nickel's worth of free advice from one happily taken man to another.
So after Chris returns from camp with a long-distance girlfriend, he feels like he's inclined to give his father relationship advice. Guys will date a girl for 1 week and immediately believe they have the whole world figured out.
Remember, Dad, never question your wife's choices. After all, you were one of them.
Spoken like a pixelated Facebook post that's a screenshot of a screenshot that's littered with comments like, "So true, Jan." Also, great restraint on Peter's part. If Chris booped me on the nose, that cupcake would have found a new destination other than the mouth.
A Canadian camp girlfriend nobody has ever seen? Seems a bit suspicious to me.
So Quagmire instills some doubt in Peter that Chris's girlfriend is even real. But Chris would surely never do that a second time in this series, would he? Either way, this kid is overstepping his bounds by finding a true moment of happiness, and Peter needs to take him down a peg.
You don't have a girlfriend. You made her up.
No, I didn't. She's real.
She's real, huh? Well, then, let's go see her.
I bet Peter was always looking for an opportunity to go visit Canada, and dunking on your teenage son sounds like a good enough reason as any. But after enough pushing during the trip up there, things start to get a little heated and personal.
Mom's way out of your league, so why can't you get it through your thick and huge head that I found someone great?
He should know better than to speak to his dad in painful truths. But yeah, Peter being with Lois is like a T-baller playing in the MLB. Obviously, this stings Peter a bit, so he might as well go in for the kill.
You know why I don't believe you have a girlfriend?
Why?
Because you're a fat loser.
Fellas, not in the strip club. Take that familial emotional damage to where it belongs, in the parking lot behind the strip club. This insult pretty much shatters Chris, meaning he has no choice but to put his feelings towards a new activity to get back at his dad.
Because of you, Daddy.
Whatever you gotta tell yourself, Chris. Just like Peter needing an excuse to go to Canada, Chris just wanted an excuse to break out the tassels and shake his stuff for a crowd. And frankly, it's a little embarrassing to pretend that's not the truth. And after Stewie gets embarrassed by being clocked as older than he actually is, he proceeds to make everything worse by getting plastic surgery that leaves him with a yearbook photo no one will ever forget, and then there's fraud.
3 adults and 1 infant, please.
Nice try, lady. That kid's at least 3.
So when Stewie gets mistaken for being older, he begins to have a crisis about his appearance. But also, how many mostly bald 3-year-olds does this guy know? If it's enough for him to pull an average from, somebody better look into why he knows so many 3-year-olds.
The museum man just said I looked over 2. That's mid-toddler. I ain't trying to hear that.
So Stewie decides to do a little cosmetic change to make himself look younger, or like a rubber duck. I honestly can't tell based on how he looks.
Stewie, what the hell did you do to yourself? Nothing, almost nothing. Just a little Botox, a little filler.
Maybe a little for an adult, but Stewie's looking more porcelain than human. But to his credit, he is catching the right amount of compliments he was fishing for.
Oh my god, your baby's adorable.
So cute.
Let me guess, 10 months?
Yeah, just never mind the fact that the baby has an Instagram influencer face. It won't be long until I see him in a real advertising GLP-1 or something. But if that little bit of plastic surgery can do all that, imagine what a lot of plastic surgery could do for a toddler.
Stewie? Hello? Who's there? Sorry, Bri, my eyes don't close when I sleep.
Finally, science has found the way to blend man and fish together to create the first fish-faced man. Mish? But with school pictures coming up, Stewie and Brian need to figure out what to do to not scar everyone who looks upon his face.
We just break every bone in his face and then smush him back into position.
Look, if you were going to try looks maxing, you knew it was eventually going to come to this. Family Guy tried to warn us about this years ago, and yet we didn't listen. But the technique actually helps get Stewie's face back to looking normal, and now all he needs to do is just rest his face and not do any excessive smiling. Which, you know, Picture Day usually doesn't ask for that. And now, whenever the class looks back on their preschool years, they'll be greeted with a jump scare straight out of a David Lynch movie. That's how Stewie will always be remembered, and I'm sure he's gonna be very normal about it. And Chris would tank his reputation even further after sending explicit photos to a girl, leading him to medically castrate himself in an app a day.
Here, Chris, your first cell phone.
Yay! Something my dad held in the bathroom!
So Chris gets himself a cell phone, which is kinda like giving the Ark of the Covenant to the bad guy in Indiana Jones. Only untold horrors and the wrath of God can come from this.
If you want to get a girl's attention, you text her a picture of your penis.
What? Really?
Does Neil look like someone who would lie, or someone who hasn't texted a woman a picture of his junk? I mean, yes to the first one, no to the second one. But really, Chris has got to be pretty desperate if he thinks he's getting the best advice from Neil breathes out the mouth Goldman. Even so, Chris gives that strategy a try, and it instantly backfires.
It appears Chris sent an inappropriate photo of himself to one of his classmates.
That's right. He texted a picture of his peenie.
And now there's like a non-zero chance Joe and Shepard have seen Chris's privates. Technically, that should make them criminals, no? Checkmate the law. But in actuality, it's Chris who's about to get slapped with a criminal label.
I'm sorry, but this makes Chris a offender.
Oh my god!
Look, there was a decent probability this was the direction he was heading anyway. Might as well just cut to the chase and embrace your destiny. And if Chris thought he could go about this quietly, the local news makes sure everyone knows where to direct their hate towards.
Chris Griffin, whose name will be omitted here, was caught sending quote-unquote graphic selfies of his hog.
Might want to look into whoever gave you that quote too. That's a child you're talking about. A child who's being tried as an adult, but still a child. And Chris does try to make up for his wrongdoings by going through a whole rehabilitation course, but it does little to repair his public image.
Hi, Mr. Herbert.
Oh my god! Children, run! It's that pervert!
You know how messed up you have to be for Herbert to see you as a threat and not a fellow brother in arms? He's from a different time, so the idea of soliciting someone with a phone probably sounds like summoning a devil through an incantation to him. Well, there's only one other path for Chris to take. I mean, there's probably several, but this is the only one that... You know, I don't even know if this one makes sense.
I decided to have myself chemically castrated.
Why the hell would you do that?
Well, it's so he can get rid of all the tendencies and inclinations that would make him a predator. Now he just looks and sounds like one, but legally that's fine, I guess. But to his credit, this actually manages to turn Chris's life around, and even makes amends with the girl he sent the pictures to in the first place.
I hope you know that's not who I am anymore.
I do. And I hope I didn't cause you too much trouble.
But all it takes is the single touch of a woman to revert Chris back to his old hormone-juiced ways. Glad to have you back, Chris, even if it means you're going right back to being the embarrassing weirdo everyone needs to steer clear of.
Someone get me nude art books! I need nude art books!
And Meg would be put through the ringer by the popular crowd in And the Wiener Is, first getting pelted with a bunch of meat and then being tricked into kissing a pig.
Peter Rabbit would be wise to stay out of Mr. McGregor's garden. Why don't you try the Flag Girl Squad?
So smug. Not everyone is going to understand your anime references, Connie. So Meg does get pushed out of becoming a cheerleader, but becomes the next best thing, a flag girl. Is that the next best thing, though? You thought the band kids got no respect? Wait until you see how she gets treated.
Now you can be somewhere else when the boys don't call.
It's a good thing Meg can't understand Stewie because the last thing she needs is getting dunked on by her baby brother. And Meg thinks that just being in the uniform puts her on the same level as the popular kids. The absolute audacity of her to want to be treated as an equal. This ain't Zootopia, girl. Some people are just gonna have to be the prey.
Hey, maybe we could all hang out after the game. Go team!
And for the crime of speaking to someone outside of her social circle, Meg is hereby sentenced to getting coated in spoiled meat. Look, the popular kids didn't want to have to do this, but somebody's got to uphold the law of the jungle in high school.
This meat stinks something fierce.
This ought to knock her down a couple notches.
That and potentially give her a tapeworm. At least then she would probably be considered skinny enough to be in the popular group.
Hey, Meg! Ah, man, I love how these kids celebrate these days.
Rather than take out each of the people who wronged her one by one Hitman style, Lois convinces Meg to win over the popular crowd by butting up to them. I guess she lost all her dignity out on the football field, so might as well kiss their feet while she's at it.
Hey, you guys want tomorrow's biology test?
Whoa, how'd you get that?
Do you want to ask questions or do you want to coast your way through high school, then college before landing a cushy job at your dad's company? That's right, I know these types. Lois's advice actually works, which is perfect because now it gives Meg a chance to really get back at them.
Mess with one of my chicks and I'll use my razor-sharp talons to rip your eyes out.
Finally, some sensible parenting. But Meg's pretty happy with her newfound friends, who are definitely hanging around with her because they like her, so she backs out of her and Lois's plan for revenge.
I'm not doing it. These people are my friends now.
After they pelted you with meat?
Yeah, but what's a little salmonella between friends? Plus, if she were busy getting revenge, she wouldn't have been able to partake in 7 Minutes in Heaven with one of the popular boys.
Say hello to the lovers.
Sure, it's shocking, but that pig's actually a star running back for the high school football team. That's right, he made his way into this party on merit. Lois eventually gets back at the kids by weaponizing Quagmire against them, and Meg can thank her lucky stars Instagram wasn't a thing back then. But maybe she'd be interested to see where that pig is now and hit him up. And it's clear that the presence of a girl is usually enough to cause Chris to embarrass himself, as he did with Barbara into Love and Die and Dixie.
I'm having a birthday party next week. I was hoping you could come.
Oh no! Someone peed in my pants!
Hate when that happens. Somebody really needs to do something about these guys ruining good people's reputations. And the ones that poop your pants? They may as well be tried at The Hague. But Chris attempts to bring it back around by gifting Barbara some perfume for her birthday.
Can I spray some on you?
Ow, my eyes!
They're beautiful!
Ah, just get away from me, Chris!
A swing and a miss. Not only a miss, but the bat flew out of his hands and killed someone in the stands. Chris needs to go back to the minor leagues and practice talking to dolls first. And Chris should be called out for being a weirdo whenever he's acting like one, which is exactly what a group of ladies did to him at the beach in Cutaway Land.
I tried to look at a lady who was lying with her straps down, and she saw me, and she said something to her friend.
She's probably confused why a large roasted ham was gazing at her. It's people like Chris who ruin the pastime of lying in the sand in your underwear for the rest of us. Sometimes embarrassing someone is the only way to bully them out of this mindset, no matter what age they are.
Oh, stand back, son. Watch how it's done. Those ladies are really mean.
And Stewie would endure countless moments of embarrassment after overhearing what Chris and Brian think of his new treehouse and the Manchurian Candidate.
Check it out. I'm having these guys put up a treehouse.
So Stewie ends up building his very own bachelor pad and decides to invite Brian and Chris over to check it out. I think this is what every kid expected their treehouse to look like, maybe sans the ballet bar. Then again, get a few drinks in someone and they'll probably try their best to bust out a pirouette.
Dang, Stewie, this is a legit little pad you got here.
Yeah, that one spot creaks a little. I might have him look at it.
Well, now the feng shui is just off. I don't know what a baby was paying those builders because it clearly wasn't enough. But despite that egregious fault in the design, Brian and Chris seem to be pretty big fans of Stewie's new home.
Yes.
Okay, big fans is overselling it a bit, but at least they put on a friendly face while Stewie gushes about things like photo booths. But once Stewie's back is turned, they make their true feelings known amongst themselves.
I have no idea what he's going for up there.
That's the thing. I don't think he does either.
A lot of big opinions coming from a guy who lives in a crust-covered box and a dog that doesn't even have his own room. You'd think the fact that Stewie could even make a treehouse like this would be impressive, but no, here comes the supposed editors of Better Homes and Gardens with their criticisms.
Poor Stewie. What are you gonna do?
I'll tell you what I'm not gonna do. A photo shoot with a top hat and a boa.
That's okay, Stewie can bounce back from this. So by the next time he invites the guys over, he proves he's taken their critiques to heart and made his place much more of a man cave.
Congratulations, Stewie. You officially have a kick-ass man cave. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was great before. Oh, yeah.
You couldn't make this place any more man cavey unless you had two Neanderthals scratching drawings of a saber-toothed tiger into the walls. But Stewie seems to have impressed the two Neanderthals he's acquainted with, at least until they believe they're just out of earshot.
Cliche and just desperate. Literally not one thing about that place said Stewie.
Well, what the hell, man? You didn't like it when it was unabashedly Stewie, now you hate it because there's not enough Stewie. Are you actually trying to be nice, or are you just content with repeating this humiliation ritual over and over again?
Not to nitpick, but those weren't even the right frozen quiches.
Yeah, not great.
So there's really only one direction to go in from here. Kidnap and torture Brian and Chris until they can give him one genuine compliment. I don't know if you could even waterboard that out of either of those two.
I just don't know how you're able to make such cool weapons at your age.
Have you been under a rock for the past 25 years? This kid's been killing people with things you didn't even know existed. But enough flattery about his weapons seems to be just enough to get Stewie not to outright kill them. Brian and Chris should consider themselves lucky. Stewie is killed for a lot less. But they just can't help themselves, can they?
And that crossbow. I mean, a Barnett is like, I don't know, Thor's hammer compared to that thing.
Yeah, enough embarrassment will have you piercing your family's brain with a crossbow. I've seen it 100 times before, and I'll probably see it 100 times more. And sometimes Chris just needs to be embarrassed for his own good, like when he got too popular and had to be brought down a peg by Meg and Connie in steroids.
What if? Wait, now bear with me on this. What if I date a loser and make him over into a popular guy?
So Connie decides to enact this experiment on Chris, but in a surprise twist, she actually starts to develop feelings for her creation. It's like if Dr. Frankenstein fell in love with his monster. And I can say that because they aren't related. One of them's made out of dozens of dead body parts, but that's neither here nor there.
No guy's ever said anything that nice to me before.
Well, maybe you've been hanging around with jerks.
So Chris and Connie start to date unironically, which elevates Chris's status in school even higher. He's finally earned the right to wear a long sleeve shirt under a short sleeve shirt. You really gotta put in the hours to achieve that right.
Greggy, Fitzy, T-Bone, Gagaboo.
But popularity comes with an overinflated ego that makes you think you're more important than you really are. I learned that lesson when we hit 100,000 subscribers. Turns out it does not make overthrowing a small island nation any easier. But Chris seems to think he's outgrown Connie and decides to dump her at a party.
Chris, what are you doing?
Getting scraped to death by my zipper?
You bastard!
It's the natural cycle of popularity. One day the apprentice becomes the master and the teachers return to the earth to nurture the soil until a beautiful new tree is born. Rinse and repeat. And now that Connie's lost her status, she realizes it's time to do something desperate. She needs to work with the girl she didn't even want to breathe the same air as before.
My God, he's practically ruined me. I've created a monster. Meg, we've got to do something.
Yeah, why not? Things were much better when Chris and Meg were on equal playing fields. Luckily, Meg has a little video that'll incinerate Chris's reputation in a heartbeat. An intellectual could see this as Chris just paying tribute to one of the finest thriller cinema has ever seen, but I could see how this looks bad from the outside looking in. The world just isn't ready for the art of tucking, but Chris will one day be seen as a trailblazer for his time.
Chris Griffin's a freak! What a loser!
And Meg would suffer one of the most egregious embarrassments known to man when she's left at the altar in Peter's daughter.
Well, hello, sleepyhead. I'm Michael.
Hi, Michael. I'm Meg.
So after Meg awakens from a coma, she's met with the sight of her attractive young doctor, Michael. Not a bad first thing to see when you wake up. Could have been the roof of a casket like all those other people before we learned what comas are. Honestly, her family probably would have put her in one if this were a few seasons later. And after some time, Meg and Michael upgrade from patient and doctor to girlfriend and boyfriend.
Dad, you remember Michael Milano from the hospital? He's my date.
Unfortunately, this is one of those episodes where Peter decides he actually cares about Meg. Peter forbids Michael from dating her because he's doing that dad thing where no man is good enough for his daughter. I think Meg honestly preferred when she was neglected. At least she could more or less do what she wanted.
I almost lost you once, I'm not gonna lose you again. This guy may look harmless on the outside, but on the inside he could be a complete
Yeah, we really shouldn't experience life at all because of hypotheticals. Why stop there? Why don't you stop breathing just in case the air's been poisoned? Peter finally relents, but only enough to allow them to go on a date under his discreet supervision. Big fat quotation marks on discreet here.
I think he's wearing some kind of disguise.
Oh my God, Dad! What do you think you're doing?
Putting Asian stereotypes back a few decades, what does it look like he's doing? And this seems to be where Michael draws the line, as this all becomes too weird for him. But if you think it's weird now, it's about to get a whole lot weirder.
I'm pregnant!
I'm more shocked that those two were sleeping together on the first date. Give him a little something to work towards, Meg. Though I guess she kind of figured this wasn't going to happen a second time, so might as well lock him in. Peter agrees and decides to go to Michael's place to persuade him back into Meg's life.
Wait, what? What are you doing?
You got my Meg pregnant!
What?
I really would have figured a doctor would have a better understanding of how all that works. Unless his area of expertise is just reviving people from comas and dating them. But not only does Michael want to stay with Meg, he even pops the question to her as well.
I love you. Will you marry me?
Yes! Of course!
Not to engage in some Gen Z therapy speak, but this sounds like textbook love bombing. They've known each other for like a few weeks? You guys aren't nearly famous enough to get away with that quick of a wedding. But they decide to go through with the whole ordeal only for the catalyst for all this to go up in flames.
I'm not pregnant.
What do you mean? How do you know?
I got my period.
Like, just now? Meg, that dress is a rental. You better hope those heavy flow pads are doing their job right now. That's a shame, but honestly, this makes everything super easy now. Michael and Meg will be able to get married and not have to worry about a baby coming in to spoil the fun.
I'm not pregnant!
What?
Are you telling me we aren't going to be a struggling young couple scrounging to take care of a child? Yeah, I'm out. I guess Michael was just looking for a challenge, and being married to Meg just wasn't intense enough for him. So now Meg is left with the embarrassment of being left at the altar, which is honestly like collapsing right before the finish line of a marathon. I'd say you'll get him next time, but come on, let's be real here. And as if Chris hadn't had enough embarrassment at school, Movin' In Principal Shepard's song sees him constantly on the receiving end of Principal Shepard's jabs.
The stagnant cancer muting.
The student council meeting. You know what? You're done. Good job.
So after Chris embarrasses himself on the morning announcements by being unable to correctly pronounce a single word, things only get worse when Shepard unknowingly roasts him on a hot mic. He should know better. Gotta save that stuff for the faculty group chat. Oh, the lawsuits that would come if those messages ever leaked.
I feel like I gained 20 pounds just standing next to him. I have to open the window to get that fat kid smell out.
This guy's throwing a lot of stones for someone who I wouldn't exactly consider a physical specimen. That stink might be a call coming from inside the house situation. And after Lois learns about what happened, she decides to put it on the agenda of the next PTA meeting.
I think we can table that, as long as it's a pretty strong table.
Wow, dunking on a guy who wasn't even here to defend himself. I mean, he'd probably just cry again, but you should at least give him the option to stand up for himself. Luckily, his mommy is here to do that, but she inadvertently just tarnishes his image even further.
Sure, more than once I've caught him eating Crisco with a spoon, but I can't watch everything he eats.
I think Lois forgot this meeting was supposed to be about defending her son, but it seems like now would be a good time to try out her stand-up routine as well.
He's just like everyone else, all together in one big pair of pants.
But Lois doesn't stop there, as she makes sure that Chris is the victim of one of the school's oldest traditions in jungle love.
I start high school tomorrow.
Oh boy, you better watch out for the freshman hunt.
So Chris is informed of the illustrious pastime that is high school seniors hunting down incoming freshmen and paddling their butts. What is it with hazing that always gravitates towards butt stuff? Got freshman butts on your mind there, champ? I'm sure that has nothing to do with a handful of suppressed feelings. But maybe if Chris can just lie low, he can skirt past being targeted by the hunt. Hope it was worth it, Lois, because you've just earned yourself a one-way ticket to dying alone in a nursing home in the future. And despite Chris's best efforts at escaping, he's treated to quite the paddling in front of everybody in the cafeteria. And everyone from the students to the teachers to the lunch lady to the mayor of Quahog gets in on it.
Got you, you freshman. I'm going to teach you the lesson that it is not okay to be a freshman.
Yeah, Chris really should have considered that before coming to high school. You gotta go past the freshman part and just immediately become a sophomore. Let that be a lesson to any of you about to start high school. Your mayor is just waiting to give you a paddling. And it's clearly not hard to embarrass Chris at school, especially since he's more than capable of doing it to himself with his weak comebacks like in Secondhand Spoke.
I'll know they're bullies if they use my full name.
Well, look who it is, Chris Griffin.
So Chris becomes the target of some verbal bullying at school, saying his chest is bigger than his sister's. Meg doesn't even have to be around to catch some strays. Luckily, Chris is here to defend her honor with a witty retort that'll leave the bullies speechless.
You have a sister as well?
That's your comeback?
I guess they would be speechless from laughing so hard that they have to catch their own breath. Chris isn't exactly built for the insult game, he's built to take them. Sometimes the gazelle has to be content with the fact that it will never be the cheetah. And the last thing you'd want is your favorite celebrity hating you. But when Stewie makes a poorly worded tweet and gets Stewie, a celebrity turns the entire public against him by calling him a bully.
Former Jolly Farm star Mary Elizabeth Becca Ryan is releasing her debut single.
So the former star of one of Stewie's favorite shows is launching her music career, and Stewie is here for it. He may have just gotten into her like yesterday because this is the first time I'm hearing of her. Then again, when a baby starts talking to me, I usually just tune it out. What do they have to say? What taxes are they paying?
I'm always talking about Meeber. I love Meeber. If I weren't such a big fan, would I have Meeber tattooed right above my root?
I guess not, but you could also be labeled as a mental patient. It still would have made as much sense. So in case it wasn't clear, Stewie is all in on the pop star, practically viewing her as the driving force of intellectualism and morality in the world.
You know, you shouldn't eat Taco Bell. Meeber says you should only eat organic food because it's better for the environment.
Buddy, you're talking to a guy who eats his own poop. He's recycling on a level you couldn't even dream of. But with enough persistence, Stewie convinces Brian to take him to Meeber's concert, where he decides to celebrate her with a congratulatory tweet.
Oink, oink, my favorite pig.
Even with the context, that still sounds like a loaded insult. Stewie just needs to hope this celebrity will be level-headed and reasonable about this, which you should have doubted as soon as I said celebrity.
Uh-oh. What? She thought my post was making fun of her. She put me on blast.
Not only that, but she also gives Stewie a special shout-out at the concert that could be equated to a king commanding his knights to besiege a village.
Bullying is unacceptable, and Stewie Griffin is a bully.
You're really taking the opinion of a guy who poops in his pants to heart, huh? But the damage has already been done, as an embarrassed Stewie is shunned from society, which is just like the play circle at preschool. But if you can't make it there really might not be any hope for you.
We heard about what you did, Stewie. No one wants to play with you.
Typical white knight attitude from Doug. Bet he doesn't even listen to Meeber. While Stewie seems to have definitely learned his lesson about standing too hard, so hopefully a little social shunning will be all that comes from it.
Rupert, no!
I know you're wondering if celebrity culture is ever that serious, and I regret to inform you that yes, it is. And Meg just can't stop being embarrassed by her family in 15 minutes of shame, and it gets so bad that her family ends up becoming the center of a reality TV show.
It's such an honor to play the magic clam. Aren't you proud of your dad, kids?
Are you kidding?
So we start off with Peter getting washed ashore naked during a historical reenactment, not only embarrassing Meg, but potentially scarring her for life. No daughter should ever have to see that part of their dad, especially not upside down. Not the most flattering angle, all things considered.
How could you embarrass me like that? Nobody better pull this kind of crap at my slumber party tonight.
That's assuming you don't burst into flames from embarrassment first. And unfortunately for Meg, a no-clothes Peter is looking to speedrun that inevitability.
Say hi to Meg. She's right in there. Right there.
But the embarrassment doesn't just stop with Peter. Oh no, it's a family affair here in the Griffin household, with every single one of them seemingly being chemically engineered to be as embarrassing for Meg as possible.
You know, at my sleepovers, we used to practice French kissing. Now everybody pair up.
All right, Mom!
Okay, well now you just made it weird, Chris. I hope all these girls have good therapists, because the price for staying the night at the Griffins is walking away with something you wish you'd never seen or heard.
Peter, wait.
Shazam!
Oh, Peter.
What? It sounds like they're just enjoying the comic book adventures of Billy Batson up there and can't contain their excitement. So in order to get back at her family, Meg decides to bring them onto a talk show to show the world just how embarrassing they are.
Peter, do you think there might be any validity to what Meg is feeling?
Who are you calling Uncle Tom?
That would be idiot speak for most definitely. But while Meg thought that this would be an opportunity to expose her family, it ends up backfiring as they're given a TV deal to make a show about their everyday lives. You did this, America. You laughed too hard at the Kardashians one time, and now look where we are.
Dad's on TV parading around in his underwear like some gross European guy.
Hey, Europeans don't just get to own the bliss of walking around your house half naked. That's as ingrained in American culture as apple pie. It's clear Meg's plan has backfired and she wants out, and luckily the show is more than happy to replace her.
Meg Griffin.
Oh, sorry, I'm late, Mr. Taylor.
I guess that's better than killing her off for continuity's sake. The Griffins eventually manage to escape the limelight, which means Meg can go back to being embarrassed by her family on a local scale instead of an international one. Just so long as she doesn't have a Truman Show moment and realize that the world's watching her embarrassment already. And that's our list. A big shout out to Pumpkin Eater R2G for the suggestion. If you have a suggestion for a Family Guy topic for us to cover, be sure to let us know down in the comments and we'll see if we can make it happen. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like to help support the channel and hit the subscribe button to make sure you don't miss out on the latest Family Guy videos.